Upscaling is coming to Nintendo Switch 2, and this is fantastic for Nintendo gamers. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 will be built in with so much tech that it's going to be crazy. Now, essentially what upscaling allows you to do is to take an image that can only have a base performance and boost the performance using AI and a whole bunch of different stuff. And let's just say you have a 1080p image. You can essentially make that go to 4K using AI and upscaling. So overall, this is really fantastic. Using this would mean having a lower cost for the system and better performance and better pretty much everything else for the game. Now, there's a couple ways that Nintendo seems to be going in terms of using upscaling to raise their games. Now, one, we already know that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. So one way that you will be able to use upscaling is by taking your old Nintendo Switch games, putting it in the console, and then being able to upscale those games so then you can play Breath of the Wild at 60 frames per second and 1440p. Now, this would be really fantastic because then you finally get to experience the game on how you really want to. Now, another reason that this is really good is because if it's native, whatever, 1440p, then that means that the game files will be bigger. But if you upscale the game file by using AIs and the technology that we have, the game files won't be as big. So that allows you to still buy a cartridge from the store and put it inside the Switch. Or that same thing goes for buying games off the store and your game will be less gigabytes. So that's pretty fantastic. Now, the upscaling that is going into the Nintendo Switch 2 will most likely be able to support up to 4K. Now, using this, you'll most likely be able to play your games at 4K when it's in dock mode. Now, undock mode, it will most likely be maybe 1080p, maybe 1440p. Now, you might see this because we know that we're getting a better screen and it's also going to be a bigger screen. So if you like handheld mode, there you go. Upscaling will also work on handheld mode. It just won't be as prominent. It won't be as good as actually putting it in dock mode because the dock really induces that by a long shot. So, you know when you take your Nintendo Switch and you slap it out of the dock and you're playing in your hands, you know how it's 720p? It will most likely be a 1080p screen, so you'll see that on your Nintendo Switch screen. But when you put it in the dock, the upscaling technology will allow it to reach a super powerful kind of aspect of game. Now, you can also, by upscaling, there's most likely going to be settings on the Switch itself. If you want better FPS but a little worse quality, that's probably something that you'll be able to do, like performance mode and, what is it, casual mode or whatever it is? Fidelity and performance, that's the one. Now, you'll be able to probably pick in between them. Do you want performance, so you'll have higher FPS but less visuals? Or do you want something like fidelity, which is better visuals but less FPS? Now, this is most likely something that we're going to see on the Nintendo Switch 2 because it would make the most sense. You would need a really powerful chip if it could do both. Now, a really powerful chip, that would mean that it would be more money. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 will most likely be in your typical $400 range-ish. So hopefully we see that. Now, the reason why we'll most likely be seeing upscaling. Now, there's been a lot of leaks and information pointing towards Nintendo's working on something. Now, just like Nvidia, DLSS, that is a thing that is a form of upscaling that, you know, it's good for computer games. Now, we're not going to be getting exactly DLSS, but we're going to be getting some form of it because Nvidia is the one that's making the chip for the Nintendo Switch 2. So this means that a whole bunch of stuff. Nvidia is the very trusted brand in this kind of graphic-y and improvement stuff. That's the one. I did a little slip up there, but I'm good. Anyways, Yeah, so this is really fantastic to see because, you know, you really want to play your games at a higher frames per second, a higher base quality. So overall, we're going to be seeing that. Now, because there's a higher resolution, a higher frames per second, does that mean we'll be getting the bigger third-party games? Now, yes, I do think that we're going to be getting the bigger third-party games on the Switch system, because now that we have essentially what is DLSS, upscaling technology, we're going to be seeing bigger and better, you know, games from other companies, and this is fantastic. And for Nintendo themselves, will finally be able to run games at a solid 60 frames per second. And this is really, really fantastic. I'm really excited to see the Nintendo Switch 2 with all his beautiful technology packed into one system. This is going to be one crazy year for Nintendo fans. Now, there's one kind of downside about using upscaling for games. Now, this could, or most likely will, drain the battery life a lot. So if you're playing in handheld mode, your battery life will probably go from, let's just say, 20-hour battery life down to 4. Now, this is most likely not exactly how it's going to be. It's probably going to be like a 10-hour battery life to 4 hours if you're using upscaling. But, you know, you have that. Now, most likely what's going to happen with Nintendo, you're going to be able to turn it on and off. So if you don't want to use all your battery, let's just say you're on a car trip or whatever, you can turn it off, so then you're going to be using the native resolution that is built into the Nintendo Switch. But if you're playing on TV mode or you're right beside a charger in the wall, you can turn it on to, you know, have a better gaming experience. So overall, this seems really, really fantastic. Now, there is going to be a third button or a new button on the Joy-Con. So I wonder if that button will be for the the new DLSS or whatever. Yeah, so most likely what's going to happen is there's going to be a new button. You click that and then it opens up a menu. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can put on Fidelity, Pro, whatever the case may be. You can put on whatever setting you want, and it's essentially just going to make it so, hey, you can have the game running at a good solid 60 FPS but have your battery drain, or if you're in the car or wherever else, you're somewhere far away from a charger, you can turn that bad boy right off and just use the native resolution on the Nintendo Switch system. So overall, I think that this is really, really fantastic. What do you think about this? Do you think that having an upscaling technology on the Nintendo Switch is really fantastic? Or do you think, hey, I don't know how this is going to go. I feel like it might go the wrong way. Anyways, let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. With that being said, see you in the next one.